So I know you've been talking about peptides a lot, and then you said you're very passionate about bioregulators. So I'm sure most people don't know what bioregulators are. So maybe you can enlighten everybody.
For sure. Well, as you opened up, peptides are these short proteins, really. Their peptides are 50 amino acids or short or less, and naturally occurring in the body. But, we've been isolating them now for a while. Bioregulator peptides redefine short. Bioregulator peptides are at most 4 amino acids long and as little as 2 amino acids. So they are the tiniest of tiny peptides. And they're peptide chains that are also naturally occurring in the human body and have a very, very incredible way of what they are epigenetic switches. And what that means is that they are so tiny and they carry that perfect polar charge that allows them to travel across the cellular membrane, travel across the nuclear membrane, so that now they're in the nucleus of the cell. And what we find in the nucleus of the cell, a little bit of biology class, guys, here, sorry, is your DNA. And that DNA is in charge of manufacturing proteins that your body needs to function. And what the bioregulator peptide does is it finds its binding site on that DNA helix and upregulates the production of specific proteins. And what those proteins are is they are proteins to regenerate and restore function to that tissue, gland, or organ. So they're pretty fascinating. It's amazing to even think that there's something out there that can help that, and from nature of all places, that can actually help our bodies to regenerate and restore themselves from within. And so these bioregulator peptides were first isolated by a gentleman or a researcher, medical doctor in Russia. His name is Vladimir Kavinson. And Dr. Kavinson has done over 40 years of research on the bioregulator peptides, isolating them, studying them, and running clinical trials on humans. I'm sure he started with animals and then moved on to humans. So he's got a ton of really interesting data on how these peptides can restore health and can really restore balance to the body. So it's an interesting thing. And it's a little bit different than the typical peptides we talk about, in the sense that the bioregulators always are modulating function. So you can use a thyroid bioregulator, for example, with someone who is either hyper or hypothyroid, and what it's going to try and do is bring that thyroid back into balance. They're quite unique that way.